Hey, I can hear something from your end.
So you can hear me now?
Hey, look at that.
All right, sir.
What's up?
All right, well, welcome to the Boot Hill Sports Network. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but it's me, Jeremy Abrams from BSN. I'm joined by Coach G, Coach Dom. Um, Coach, we're not going to take up too much time tonight. I know you're getting ready for one of the biggest games in your career, especially at Caruthersville. But first off, how are you doing?
I mean, I'm good, man. We had a good week, and that anticipation of going into the semifinals is looming on us. And we had a good walkthrough today, and we're as ready as we're going to be.
Well, let's talk about last Friday night. Let's just say, at least at my end, and probably your end too, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, the first series that they're number 25, like Lufkin or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they went down and scored, and we were like, oh boy, like we're going to be in for a dogfight. And then I think their second offensive series, our boys just they swarmed them. They settled in. The excitement of playing a home playoff game, I think, can be detrimental in some respects. But once they settled in, I mean, they were putting kids in the dirt. I mean, our offensive line had a great night. I mean, Sammy Bryant rushed for like 20 yards of carry. I mean, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, we'll get to Sammy Bryant's night, which was one of the best nights I've seen in 20 years of watching high school football. Um, but overall, it was your first district game. Um, there's a lot of people just really not knowing because Kelly out of Benton, Missouri, not a lot of people around here know that team. So what were you expecting going into the game?
Um, we saw a lot of power eye football, a lot of fullback, a lot of running up the gut. So we were expecting a lot of ground and pound stuff, but sneakily that quarterback threw the ball.
Hmm.
Uh, like he had a pretty decent arm. So we're expecting him to be like a prototypical power eye team and run, let it loose a little bit in the pass game, try to hit the flats. Um, but if I was their coach and that game plan against us, I would have stuck in that power eye the whole game. And then I think that was his game plan until we shut it down there starting in the second series. And then they were forced to kind of get in that passing game, which Abion had the interception, and we were able to generate a pass rush. We had a couple, I think Jermaine had 2 sacks, either Jermaine or Kenyon. So we were really able to get to him pretty good, and we were able to land some nice legal hits on him throughout the football game. So it ended up being probably one of the most physical games we played
I think
overall.
so too. Trust me, it got really loud in the booth, and that was all on my part. Um, and speaking of some of the physicality, and I ask you this every week, how's the team's health going into tomorrow night?
Um, I think we're pretty decent right now. We got Monte running a little bit today, which was good. I think overall the programmatic health is probably at 98%, but you're looking at week 11, so relative to week 11, everybody's a little beat up at this point. Um, I'm comfortable where we're at going into Valle Catholic, health wise.
Well, and that's one of the things I've been asked a bunch about, um, not just the overall health, but obviously one of your biggest stars, Monte, is how's he doing?
I think he's good. I mean, he ran some today, and um, we're not going to say anything about him other than really he ran well today,
Right?
and
I no,
focused
I
on,
understand that.
and he's focused on again um, competing against Valle Catholic.
Well, the reason I really ask you that, there's a guy that I work with that drills me every day about every single player, like I have any idea what's really going on. Like I'm basically like the head coach, so I just know there's a bunch of fans out there just want to know how everyone's doing, how everyone's feeling as we go week 2 of the districts.
Now, do you know why you don't see me grocery shopping during football season?
I'm not going to bother you, but I know other people will. Yes, I completely understand.
Hey, coach, what about this? Hey, do you know how to beat Valley? I was like, no, but you're going to tell me.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, see, and I'm just the announcer, and I get it nonstop. Hey, Jeremy, how's so and so doing? I don't know. I don't know. But with the I mean, I don't even want to call it a big win. I want to call it a huge win last week. What kind of momentum is the team and the coaching staff feeling going into tomorrow night?
I think that we've got a good swagger to us. In my opinion, I think momentum kind of dies in the playoffs. Um, and the reason I say that is, I mean, you can go on a 5 game win streak and then you end up in the district semis, and you're like, every time you win a game in playoffs, and the difficulty level rises exponentially. And
Definitely.
you're looking at Kelly, and that was a great win. But then you beat Kelly round 1, and then boom, you're heading to St. John. You're playing Valle Catholic, who, I mean, they went 10-1 last fall. They lost to Seckman this year, who's a top 10 football program in 6A, and it wasn't an ugly loss by any means. Um, so I think, yeah, our kids have a lot of confidence to them, and I think our offense proved that we sat Monte after that first play where he kind of tweaked himself a little bit, and we were
Right.
able to create 49 points. Um, so I think that confidence is good. I think the momentum kind of ends in the respect that you've went from like here to my hands over the screen
Right.
with Valley Catholic.
Well, I think Valley Catholic this year went 8-1. I think that's right.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, so one loss. And no matter what, though, before we really get into the details of the game, any team is beatable. It's like the whole any given Sunday thing, any given Friday, any given Saturday. Any team is beatable, and you guys have put up some really big wins and a couple tough losses. So I guess we'll go ahead and get into it. What do you, again, without giving out details, what's your game plan going into Valley?
And this is cliche, but we're going to go back to basics. We're gonna focus on what we run really well. I mean, you can put in some trickery. Some coaches like to put in some trickery and kind of hit home runs in the playoffs. Um, you can't be a one hit wonder in the playoffs and have spend 15 of your 30 team reps on one play just to maybe get it. Um, it's almost like you're in the middle of the season and towards the middle of the end of the season, you can get a little cute on offense and try to do some crazy stuff and da da da. Like we went out in that diamond quads thing last week. When you're playing a team like Valley, you got to be sure in what you do because that's what they are. They're going to run their plays and they're going to be methodical about it, and they're not going to panic and they're not going to freak out. They're just going to go out there and play football, play after play after play, and that's how we have to be. I mean, we spent a lot of this week working on our fundamentals and stuff that we do well. We know we run the ball well. We know that we've got a beast at running back right now. Our offensive line is playing really well right now, so we need to take advantage of that. Ryan's throwing the ball well right now. We need to take advantage of that. I'd say once you get to this point, it's brass tacks time. It's your X's and O's and your Jimmys and Joes against their X's and O's and their Jimmy and Joes, and you have to be sound in your fundamentals to win football games.
This is your second season coaching down here in the Boot Heel at Caruthersville. Do you notice a big difference? Like, for instance, you're going to be playing Valle Catholic, which is just north of Cape Girardeau. Is there a difference from the Boot Heel and then, say, Cape Girardeau up to St. Louis?
I mean, I think so. I mean, it's hard to kind of put a pin in what the difference is.
Right.
I mean, like you play Valley, and Valley's a very different football team than we are. Once you start getting in the playoffs and you play those teams that you don't see in the regular season, it's like, whoa, it's a little different than the boys we've been playing against. It's not because they're better or worse or anything. It's just this different kind of football.
Right.
The football, you have to like adjust yourself because all the Boot Hill schools, like you have your double wing teams, like the East Prairie's, the
Malden and
Dexters,
yeah.
and they've got like the kind of wing spread type teams, like you'll see against Charleston, or you have the Power I type teams like you see against Chaffee, and then you have the spread teams like us and Hayti and New Madrid. So it's just, and a lot of these guys, because you play in that Boot Hill Conference, and then you play, or that SEMO Central for us, the SEMO Conference, and you play under. And once you start getting out of that conference, you start seeing a little bit of different stuff because all of these coaches have been here for a while.
Right.
You look at Chad Emerson, he was at East Prairie forever. And then he was at Dexter, and the East Prairie guy was at Charleston, but now he's at East Prairie. And Foley was at Caruthersville, then Jackson, then now he's at New Madrid. So these guys have all learned from each other on the way. And then once you start getting a little bit of distance between you, those are guys that you really are not as close with football-wise and don't see every day. So, of course, it's going to be a little different.
Right. Right.
Then you know what you're getting against Dexter. You know what you're getting against East Prairie. You know what you're getting against New Madrid because you see them every year. You got years and years and years of film on. You don't necessarily see what you're when like you or Crowsville's only played Valle Catholic 4 times.
Well, see, that's why I wanted to ask you that because not just for me, but for everyone that's out there watching and listening, they don't understand what goes into that when you're used to the schedule. You're used to seeing, okay, we're going to play East Prairie and Malden and Kennett and Portageville and whatever. And then as soon as you get to districts and get to the playoffs, you're seeing teams that no one knows anything about. So I was just wanting to get the fans out there and myself to kind of understand how you prepare for the teams once you head up north. Because since we're so far in the south, every team you play in the playoffs is going to be up north.
Yeah, and then it's nice because they had a couple crossover games. Like they played Kennett, they played Park Hills, so they played some common opponents. But when you really get to brass tacks, in and out every week, I mean, in the SEMO conference, you're seeing films against, like, you end up by week 8 having almost every film on a guy just because you traded so many times throughout the season with people that have already played him and da-da-da-da. So it's different.
Now, have you got to see very much film on Valley?
Yeah, we did our natural trade, and then we had a common opponent film and stuff like that. So, and then you have YouTube, which is a great resource.
Yes.
So we put time, we're going to put the film time in, and I think one of my young assistants, won the film competition this week. We watched like 7 hours of film, and the kids put in a lot of film work too. So it's really going to come down to, I mean, when you play a football team, and regardless if they're the number 1 team in the state or the number whatever 200 and something team of state, you go in that game as prepared as you can be, and then what it boils down is it's got 2 sets of coaches, and both 2 sets of qualified coaches, and then you got a bunch of 15, 16, 17-year-olds playing a bunch of 15, 16, 17-year-olds, and it's just going to come down to execution. It's going to come down to the want to win. It's going to come down to discipline, and when you play a team like Valley, that's very, very, very disciplined. Like, there's no holes in that team. It's going to come down
different. Is it different playing? Because Valley is a private school. Does that make any difference in the way that you coach?
No.
No.
There's still 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, and it's still, I mean, Judd's a fantastic football coach. He's got a great staff, and we've got great coaches on our staff too. So it's just going to come down to that. I mean, they're a Catholic school. Yeah, their enrollment's 145, and they've got 45 kids on the team. I mean,
Right.
If you look back at their rosters, you see some of the same names as you saw that their dads played in the 80s, and they're playing there now. I mean, this facade that Valle Catholic recruits is just, I don't think it's true. It's generational there. The tradition's generational.
See, that was my next question because people bring that up all the time. They say, "Oh, well, whenever you play a private school, all they do they recruit players, so they have the edge." I don't believe that.
I'm sure there's some that are,
Yeah.
but I would say 25% of them throughout the
Right.
country. I mean,
But throughout the country, not just the state, not just the area.
yeah, just where you're looking at. I mean, private schools, they're always going to have a different. I mean, public schools have an advantage in some regard, and so do private schools have an advantage in another regard.
Yeah.
I don't really. I mean, there's that whole debate of should they have their own state championship, and I know some states they do, and some states they don't. I mean, there's people that spend their lives in high school football, sitting in an office making decisions that know more about it than I do. But all I know is we have the opportunity to play Valle Catholic in the playoffs, and we're going to
Right.
take advantage of that opportunity the best way we can.
And before we get to the absolute details of the game, I have to ask you this, and I am going to put you on the spot, so I apologize right now. There was a lot of talk about the officiating from last Friday night's game. Did you have anything to think or say about that?
That job is impossible. That job sucks. They don't get paid a ton to go out there.
No.
I mean, I'm not the most easy guy to deal with on the sideline, and I'm sure their coaches weren't the easiest to deal with us on either. We can spend all day bashing these officials, but here's what it comes down to. We keep bashing these officials. We keep making their life hard. They're not going to want to do it. And then you're playing games on Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays, and then you lose Friday night football because people keep roasting these darn officials. Like, they don't make a ton to officiate these games.
No,
Like,
I can vouch for that 100%. I just know that it's just one of those things I get because of our show that we do and the fact that I broadcast the games from the booth. People come up to me all the time and ask me questions, and that was one of the main ones I heard this week. And I'm 100% with you because I officiated basketball for 3 years, and it was probably the worst 3 years of my sports loving life. And it wasn't the kids, and it wasn't mostly the coaches, it was the fans.
Yeah, and you know, are there calls that officials make? And this is not just last game; it's every game that I'm like, "Are you serious?" And do I freak out? Yes.
Of course.
And here's the deal: they're equipped for that. But that job, and I recommend that if people want to know what it's like to be an official, sign up.
Yep, exactly. I have to agree. 100%. If folks, if you're watching, you want to know what it's like, sign up and put on the stripes and see what it's like, because it's not a
Uh,
walk in the park.
Look, I had a brand new officiating crew, and they made a lot of mistakes. In my opinion, they made a lot of mistakes. And when you look at their years' experience and it's zero, like it's not fair for me to freak out on them. Like that'd be like someone freaking out on me last year for losing a game.
Right.
Like they're taking the time because they care about the development of the sport, the development of kids being official. Well, you know what? We need to lighten up on them a little bit and let them do their job and let them learn. But that also means that Michigan's got to provide these guys with ample resources and not just click and watch videos. Like, give these guys the tools to be able to be successful. Like, it's a double-edged sword. Like, and I know Michigan does a good job with that, and I know officials are trying. But if we all kind of have to do our part, coaches have to be fair with the officials, the fans have to be fair with the officials have to be fair with the teams, but they also need constant education from the governing body. And I think Michigan does a decent job because we have to share our home games with officials, and the officials get the opportunity to watch our game film and see where they called this or called that. Da, da, da. But it's teamwork in that regard.
Well, I think that's a great way to put it. Is the fact that now, I mean, as a coach, yeah, you're gonna get hot, you're gonna get heated, you're gonna yell, "Oh, come on, that wasn't a foul," stuff like that. That's just part of the game. The officials are ready to take that. That's why they go into. You have to be ready for that if you're an official. However, there's times when I hate to say players, but coaches and especially fans can kind of jump over that line, and that's just not fair to the officials.
Like, and here's the thing, fans, it's the easiest job in sports. The easiest job on Friday night at 7 p.m. is fans. Like, they know more than I do.
Yes.
They know
Yeah.
more than Coach Reese does. They know more than the officials do. They know more than everybody. I'm like, dude, if I knew how much you knew, my life would be so much better.
Right.
But they're passionate, and that's why it's fan. Fan is short for fanatics. Like, they are there for us and to support us and da da da. But my PSA is be nice to the dang officials because we keep running them out. We're going to be in a tough spot.
Right. Well, see, and there's a difference between being passionate and being over the top.
And I'll give it to this. I mean, our fans are passionate,
Yes.
but and unfortunately and unfortunately, we were on our home side, and I didn't really hear much of our fans being ugly to the officials for the most part. Our fans.
Okay. Well, you brought it up, so I'm gonna go with it. I also heard that there was several. I guess the best way to say it, ugly comments made by the opposing team's fans, and I've heard a bunch about it. I didn't hear it in the booth because I was giving praise to both sides all night long, but apparently some of the fans from the visiting team were not being very polite.
I mean, if that's how they want to. I mean, here's the deal. I didn't hear much, honestly. Coach Treese has got the best headset because he's got the Mickey Mouse ear, so he can't hear anything. Uh, Here's the deal. It was a hard fought football game. It was a physical football game, and when the clock ticked 0-0-0, we were the winners. And regardless of what anybody else says about it, we won the football game. I wish them the best. I'm very thankful for our fans, and that's my political statement on that.
I mean, honestly, I guess I'd have to vote for you if you were running for something because that's about as generic as it gets. But I appreciate it. I
Hey,
mean,
we had the best look. SEMO Ball can say what they want. Last year when they voted whomever's fans to be the best fans, shoot, we've got fans that built a porch in their backyard to watch football games.
that's right.
I would have traded
Several.
our fans for anything. They're awesome.
Well, the Crothersville fans, and it's been like that way. Like I said, I've told you before. When I was in high school 20 years ago, we were terrible, but we had good fans. I mean, the fans still show up. They root for their team, and they root for their players. They root for their kids, and that's just the way it is. And most of the time, they love their coaches, and this is one of the years, the last 2 years, they love their coach. We've had a couple that, but either way, that's neither here nor there.
Hey,
So,
it's just the job. You're always going to have someone that don't like you.
well, I mean, you're gonna have someone that doesn't like you no matter what you do.
That's true.
Well, let's get into the nitty gritty. All right, you got tomorrow night, and unfortunately, Coach, and I hate to say this, I can't be there tomorrow night. I won't be able to make it on time. I'm going to go ahead and out front wish you the best of luck. I just want to know, what do you think about your squad against this Valley Catholic squad?
I'll start with Valley. I mean, everybody knows the history of Valley football. That's a phenomenal football team. They're really well coached. They have a strong tradition. And you know what? So do we. And when it boils down to it, and you're going to get the cliche answer, when it boils down to it, it's two coaching staffs that have put a ton of time in. It's a group of 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. And it boils down to this. You have to do your job. You have to be disciplined. You have to be able to control your emotion. And you can't get out coached. And that's what it all boils down to. So tomorrow night at 7, we're going to take our squad up there. And we're going to compete hard. And we're going to play Tigers football. And we're going to let the scoreboard do the talking. I mean, we have an opportunity this week to play one of the best teams in the state of our size in our class and compete to go to the district finals. And if that's not motivation enough for anybody, I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
yeah, I don't know what it is.
Today, I was like, I don't have a motivational speech for you because there shouldn't need to be one. Do you want football season to end on Friday or do you not? And it all boils down to what the boys produce on the football field.
You know, that's one I've interviewed coaches for years and years, and that's one of the best quotes I think I've ever heard is, do you want the season to end or do you want to keep going?
Yeah. I mean, look, we're going to have ups and downs, and they're going to catch us on the chin, and we'll catch them on the chin a couple times. But football's a boxing match. Whoever's standing when the bell rings wins. And we're excited to go out there and have the opportunity to play them.
Well, I think I speak for most of the folks that won't be able to travel to the game. I should be off work right about the time of kickoff. Cannot wait to hear it. Cannot wait to watch it. And I just want to wish you the absolute best of luck, you, your entire team, and all I got to say is go Tigers.
Go Tigers. I appreciate it. We're excited.
Coach G, thank you again so much, and I look forward to talking to you again, hopefully next week, as we get ready for the finals and districts. And once again, from the Boot Heel Sports Network, all I want to say is thank you so much for taking your time, because I know you're a busy, busy man, especially right now in the playoffs.
Hey, I appreciate the opportunity. It's good. I'm sorry to disappoint everybody. It was just me this week. But
no, I had some people come at my work today and ask me, so are the girls going to be back on the air? I was like, no, we don't have that much time. I need to talk to Coach this time.
The show should be the Emma Baldwin show featuring Coach G.
You know what? We might have to change it up next season.
Well, she's a senior, so she'll be out.
That doesn't mean she can't come back and co-host.
You just don't want to hear me talk anymore.
I did not say that, Coach. You know that. You know better than that, Coach G. You're my boy. All right. Well, again, best of luck tomorrow night. Cannot wait to hopefully celebrate a big old red Tiger victory.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Coach. You have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
All right.